Are you happy?
No, I feel sick.
After you started this big old fight?
I feel sick to my fucking stomach.
I'd
like to take the company card and go get a pregnancy test.
You're pregnant?
No. But
Is that how you're announcing that you're pregnant to me?
No, but the way I've been craving canned fish and the way that you make me sick.
I thought this was going to be like nice and relaxed because I spoke to Lizzie yesterday and she's like, have you ever taken a weekend off? That's what I did this weekend, and I am so happy.
I was so happy, and now it's it's Monday, so it's like that joy's gone.
Well, don't bring that energy to me. This is a fun job. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're being nasty.
Sorry, that like mic cover is so aggressively
what the fuck?
large.
This is big, right? This isn't what it normally is.
You got Shane's mic. Like Shane will not podcast without that mic.
What's up with that, Shane?
I don't know.
This is crazy.
Okay, do you want to like...
What do I do? Do I just keep it on?
Yes, you have to keep it on. It's the popper thing.
The popper?
I'm not an audio
Are you trying to do poppers? It's fucking 8 a.m. on a Monday, bro.
Isn't that a gay thing?
Yeah, it is gay.
It seems super gay that you want to do that.
Super gay that you tried to get me to do poppers to open this butthole up. Or is it super straight?
Is that what it does?
I
It like
don't know,
relaxes
dude.
the butt muscles to make something bigger go in easier?
You tell me.
Wow.
Have you done poppers?
No, but now I'm considering. Chris?
Have you done poppers, Chris?
I have not. I'm terrified of drugs. I don't do drugs.
I mean, are poppers like
are
really
they
drugs?
Aren't they kind of?
Okay, Google two things. Are poppers drugs?
Yeah.
And what are they utilized for? And in the
Me
meantime,
this morning being like, these people on the internet are so dumb. Are poppers drugs? Do they loosen your butthole?
I know Lizzie walks into my house and she's like, these people on this podcast didn't know anything about anything. I'm not
I
giving
kept it vague. I said I was hating on people on the internet.
And I said-
and you're specifying it to
a
a degree.
podcast. Everyone and their fucking mom has a podcast. Literally, I wouldn't be surprised if our moms have a podcast.
Pacific.
Pacific.
So
Okay.
poppers are drugs. They're an inhalant drug. And the products cause blood vessel dilation and muscle relaxation and are used for sexual enhancement.
So it does loosen a butthole.
And
I
all
guess
this
so.
time, I was super annoyed when I had grinder hookups that would be like, hold on, gotta do my poppers.
Damn.
It was awful. It's like, because it just felt to me like, you know, like if you have friends that have to
Get
smoke,
drunk to hang out.
or smoke pot to eat with you.
Oh.
Like if we're going to breakfast and they have
Yeah.
to like, you have to sit and wait for them to smoke a bowl before we can eat breakfast. It felt the same to me. It's like you can't have sex without the popper.
Yeah, I get you. That's the other thing that's been bothering me about some of these podcasts. All these kids are talking about their social anxiety and how they need to get fucked up to do anything. And then they have a podcast where they're all blacked out drunk and nobody says anything.
So now you're exposing yourself after getting mad at me for
No,
talking
I'm just going to
about
go
you
deeper
talking
down the
about
rabbit
podcasts.
hole. You've already exposed that it's all podcasts.
Well, no, okay, it's all podcasts, but your whole thing was like talking about how these people didn't know anything on the podcast, and I was like, Lizzie, have you ever tuned into our podcast? Like,
Well,
we can't.
We know nothing as well. The difference is we're sober, so there's no excuse for our
Speak
stupidity.
for yourself.
Are you on a popper right now?
Could be.
Wish you were.
You wanna
Loosen
go
you
get
up.
pregnant?
It's fucking tight ass. No, I don't
Thank
want to get
you.
pregnant. I don't want your fucking popper babies.
Hello, you guys.
Welcome back to another episode of The Sip.
I'm Ryland Adams, of course, joined by
Lizzie Gordon.
Hello.
Hi.
Where do we go from there?
Where do we go from here?
Okay, Joe,
I saw Cocaine Bear.
did I ruin the through line?
Yeah, you always do. It's
Okay, we'll rewind.
Have you seen Cocaine Bear, Chris?
Yes.
What was your vibe?
My vibe was O'Shea Jackson Jr. is very attractive.
Did you like laugh at all?
No, I mean, I did. It wasn't as funny or crazy as I wanted it to be.
It wasn't funny. I like sat there
I
and
laughed.
my main vibe was like, I could leave right now. And I hated that I felt that way because I want to love Elizabeth Banks, but I like the whole time I was like, I could leave. And Joe was like dead ass asleep. Dead ass asleep. Snoring like an old fucking man. And I was just, and that made me laugh. But I was like, baby. And he was like, was I snoring? Was I snoring?
Could the people next to you hear the snoring?
I don't think there was anyone there. It was fucking noon on a Tuesday.
That's the time to go to a movie.
That's when I go. It's only $5 at AMC.
I hit up that new Topanga theater, Chris, that AMC in the Topanga Mall.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is gorgeous. But I do have a complaint about the seats. They don't recline far enough.
Oh, I actually agree.
Like, I was like, this is the most beautiful theater I've ever been in. It must have cost millions and millions of dollars to create. But then, like, with my back issue, which I'm not going to talk about, but it like didn't recline enough, so I think it like put me into a regression because I was like stuck between like all the way up and
all
not
the
enough
way down. Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? But I saw Scream.
I saw Scream by myself.
I also saw Scream.
Did you have a marathon leading up to like you had planned, Chris?
I wanted to. I ended up not having time, but I rewatched the first one, and that's it. That's all I had time for.
Did you go by yourself?
No, I went with my boyfriend.
Okay. And
I
did
went by
everyone
myself.
Like it?
I asked Ryland if he wanted to go with me, and he said, "Eat your own ass, you nasty loser bitch."
Hopefully you eat poppers
I'm going with
before
my
you do
fucking
that.
friends, and you're not one of them. And I was like, okay.
No, if there's ever a date I have to go to with Shane, it's going to the Scream movie, and he bought tickets for opening night months and months ago.
So really, my beef's with Shane.
I thought it was great. I had a great time.
I was, to be honest, severely disappointed. Spoilers ahead. We're
What?
gonna spoil this movie.
What?
Oh.
We're gonna spoil this movie.
No,
so
I
if
don't
you
want people clicking out of our podcast right now.
don't click out, but just go forward. We'll put a little timestamp and we'll tell you when to go. People do this all the time.
Okay, fine. Spoilers.
Spoiler alert. I knew who it was the moment Quinn was like, my brother's dead. I was like, okay, so it's Richie's fucking sister. And then her dad's the police chief. It's like, and he's in on it. And like, even when they took us to the killers, and I was like, well, obviously her dad could have access to all of this evidence because he's a police officer.
You didn't think for a second it might have been Hayden?
No, not for 1 second did I think it was Hayden. I also felt like, why resuscitate that character? And
Give Hayden a job. Let her live.
yeah, but like they could have given Hayden like this character was weak, and the movie would have survived without her, which makes it like an annoying addition. Do you know what I mean? Like when there's characters just thrown in, like the third brother, like I don't give a fuck about Ethan, bro. It's not like I got wet over the fact that there's 3 killers. Oh my God.
I thought
And
it was
then-
much better than the first iteration of this new round of Scream movies. I was much more entertained. Like, yes, maybe it was more obvious who the killers were, but I thought the shots were good. I liked more of the interaction. I don't think it's as fast moving as the previous, like, original Scream movies. Like, all the reviews are like, it's crazy. It's back-to-back action. And I'm like, there is a lot of action, but there's still, like, a lot of emotional. We're sitting and being emotional.
I feel like completely different than what you just said. I felt like the direction was weak as fuck, and in the first reboot of this whole franchise, the direction of it was so specifically nuanced that some of the camera movement was a joke in and of itself that made me laugh. And in this one, it felt like everything was kind of rushed and not really well choreographed. The fights felt poorly choreographed, and the direction showed that to me.
I didn't
like
feel
the
that
scene
way.
where, oh my God, the fucking fight sequence in Courtney Cox's apartment was a sick joke.
I loved it.
When the two kids are when the sisters are running to get into the cop guy's car, he's just standing out there like, no, wait, like don't get in that car. Like they're moving like this fast, and he's like, don't take my car. Like he's like stuck in jello. Like all of the choreography felt whack to me. And even in just simple exchanges like that, all of it was just like, what? The fucking twins just getting held. He's beefy as fuck, and he's being held by like the scrawny version and the fucking little sister, and he's just like, run.
Okay, Chris, what did you
Run.
think?
Stupid. I also have one more hot take on it. I feel like these remake versions of the movies are more of like a stab film than a Scream film. And I was talking to Shane about this because I also knew that it was the sister and the dad, because I was like, oh, this is following the original second Scream movies formula, which is it's the mother and a psycho film student of the original killers.
Right.
So it's all in the family. But I think that there's an interesting like pattern now going on where it's like these reboot films are sort of stab versions of the original Scream.
Mm-hmm. Christopher?
I loved it.
I liked it too. I thought it was an without like critiquing like so in the nitty gritty, like as an audience member, I enjoyed sitting down and I enjoyed the ride. Like I enjoyed myself, which is, I think, the goal when you're going to see a movie.
I saw it at a packed theater in Burbank with my boyfriend and one of my best friends, and the whole theater was clapping, and we loved it.
Oh God,
We
don't
had a
get
really
me
good
started on going to a movie theater. I couldn't be more annoyed by moviegoers.
I like the camaraderie of a crowd that's all excited for the film.
Yeah,
I
it
do
was a good
too,
crowd.
but it was like there was a girl behind me screaming. Like like not like scared screaming, like screaming her opinions. Then there was the guy next to me, like over laughing at everything that didn't need to be laughed at.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can you guys just shut the fuck up? Like, if there's a good moment, I agree. It's like fun to experience it together. But then it's like the other side of us, like eating loud the whole time. And you're just like, this is why we want to watch things at home for things that are even made for movie theaters.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I don't know. I like the change of scenery. I thought it was very fun. I was never bored. I don't know. I had a really good time.
I would be excited if they sort of brought it back to the original like core like foundation of the film, which is this is sort of like a parody of this type of movie. And I think it would be really cool if it could get back to those sort of roots. But now it's so deeply ingrained in its own mythology and its weird need for these obscene twists and turns that it's like predictable.
Right. They lucked out with having Jenna Ortega become a huge star.
They lucked out with Jenna Ortega being hugely talented.
Oh my God, she is so good. I believe, so good. Like, we left, and that was my first thing I told Shane is like, I believe her in everything. Like,
yeah, I didn't give a fuck about Wednesday. I love Jenna Ortega in it, and I have a theory that nobody would like the show Wednesday if Jenna Ortega was not in it.
I tried, but it's just not for me.
I watched as many episodes as I did because of Jenna Ortega, and after the fact, I'm just like, I don't give a fuck about this shit.
She's so good.
Yeah.
And like from Wednesday, she did become this like overnight star, even though she's been working since she was a child. Mm-hmm. But it is crazy that now she like Scream has her in this franchise before that hit
they're
off.
so lucky.
And they have the biggest opening weekend they've ever had for a Scream movie.
Yeah, there'll be a third.
Yep. And then hopefully they'll change.
I also think it's wild that fucking Dawson from Dawson's Creek, who wanted to be like a filmmaker, is now writing the Scream movies. Doesn't that seem crazy?
He is?
Yeah, James Van Der Beek. Right?
I thought it was the guy that directed
Is it James
Ready or
Van Der
Not.
Beek or James?
No, it's not.
Look it up. Look up the screenplay writer.
Look it up, Christopher.
I'm looking. James Van Der Beek.
Oh, weird.
Why are you being so mean?
Why are you being mean? Telling me I'm wrong.
Well, because I thought it was the people that made Ready or Not.
Those are the directors.
I thought he wrote and directed it.
I think that there's a few people who worked on the writing of it, but I know that James has been credited for the past two as a writer.
Okay.
But I also think it's so funny. Like, Dawson's ambition was to be a filmmaker, and now Dawson's writing the Scream movies, which were like huge movies when Dawson's Creek was out.
Right.
Meta.
I'll circle back to him later. Okay, people need to say no.
Oh, yeah. I think this is just not about Scream. But another hot take is I feel like our generation has turned into ghosters where they need to say no, and it's okay to say no, and it's fucking rude to ghost.
Oh, so you're saying don't ghost.
I'm saying don't ghost. I'm saying if somebody asks you to do something and you do not want to do it, say, I cannot do it. Respond. Grow the fuck up. Say no. So annoying. Motherfuckers out here just being like, I'm just not going to respond.
So what happened to you?
I've just noticed like a few times I've talked to people about doing things and they're like, oh yeah. You don't mean that. Don't say it. Don't say yeah. Because that's a green light to go, motherfucker. And I do shit. So if you say yeah to me, I'm going to start working on something. And if you don't mean yeah, don't fucking say it. Say no. And so I've just been thinking about a few projects that I've started over the past couple of weeks or years or whatever. And people are like, oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. And they don't mean it.
Yeah, I guess it does take...
That's fucking rude.
...you to be in a certain place in your own personal growth to be able to say no. So
or like, that sounds like so much fun. I'm unavailable.
I know, but they're... saying no to somebody also comes with feeling like you're hurting somebody's feelings.
I'm more hurt when you say, oh yeah, and then you stop responding
for
9 months.
Team.
I will kill these people.
We need a happy story for you. You're mad about Scream. You're mad about this. We need you to like take a deep breath.
No, and look at the rest of this document. It's fucking
my
bad.
Gosh. James Vanderbilt, not an actor.
Are you sure? Look it up.
I did.
After you were so crazy rude
no,
to me
I'm
just
positive because he goes on Brett Easton Ellis all the
credits.
time.
See, it is the guy from Ready or Not. I love being right.
Wait.
Well, he acted uncredited in Ready or Not, but the directors did not write it.
Because the directors of Ready or Not are the guys that took on Scream, right?
Yes.
Because Shane and I were very excited because we liked Ready or Not a lot.
Wait, are we sure though? Get me a picture.
I think his name is Vanderbilt, and I think it's really close.
Well, will you Google the writer?
Because I've loved this for years.
Yeah.
And will you Google image the writer?
Yeah.
And then are you going to give me like a formal apology?
Yeah, dude,
Because
I'm
it was
so
really
sorry.
nasty the way that you.
I'm so sorry.
You were like, okay.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Honestly, I'm so sorry.
Okay, let's
Because I've
continue your
loved
rage.
that. No, let's not. Oh,
Wow.
he's hideous. That could never be fodder for fucking teenage dream fantasy.
At least you're big enough to own up to your mistakes.
But his
I
name is
am.
so close.
I was also saying Vanderbeek, right? Vanderbilt?
Yeah,
Are they different names?
yeah.
Because James is also a screenplay writer. Because he's been on the Bret Easton Ellis podcast a multitude of times, which is why it was fine for my brain to make that connection.
And the names are so close.
Damn, I'm devastated.
I just feel great because it was real aggressive.
I'm about to take my apology back
don't
because
think
you're
I'm
a gloating ass bitch. I'm so sorry. So sorry that I don't feel as sorry as I once did.
Today's podcast is sponsored by ZOCDOC, and there's nothing worse than going to a doctor's appointment expecting to be the center of attention, and then your doctor seems like they have better things to do and better places to be. But on ZOCDOC, you'll find quality doctors who focus on you, listen to you, and prioritize your care. I can tell you firsthand, when you're not feeling your best and you're trying to hold it together, finding great care shouldn't take up all of your energy, and that's where ZOCDOC comes in. Using their free app that millions of users rely on, you can find the right doctor that meets your needs and fits your schedule. You can book an appointment with just a few taps in their app and start feeling better faster with ZOCDOC. I actually used ZOCDOC when I threw out my back and I was in so much pain and I was like, I just need a good doctor. It's amazing to see what doctors are right by you who have immediate availability, and you can see real patient reviews. So go to ZocDoc.com/thesip and download the ZocDoc app for free, then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/thesip. ZocDoc.com/thesip. Okay, Shane and I went on a date night. In the midst of me being like a grumpy boy, I was like, well, there's this new steakhouse by the creators of Mastro's, which is like, we love going to. Shane proposed at a Mastro's in Malibu, and it's called Steak 48. So we had a little date night.
Cute.
We lived it up.
Awesome.
I had my first drink in 40 days.
Oh my
I was
God.
40 days sober, only because I was on my health journey,
Right.
which then fucking backfired on me because of my back.
Yeah.
Can you imagine trying to like be all fit and healthy?
Yeah.
And then it's like you're rewarded with getting injured.
Yeah.
Okay, great for me.
I'm sorry.
Steak 48 was great.
What is it? Just steak? 48
No.
steaks? Steaks and 48 sides? What is it?
Well, remember, we still have to go to STK. Like
I know.
the
I've
clubhouse
given
of
up on that
steakhouses.
dream. I can only beg for so long. Have you go, yeah, and then ghost me.
I follow through on things.
Then why have I not been to steak? STK. It's fine. Now I'm warm too.
Oh, I got an annoying email.
Who? What is it? Should we read it? Let's read the email. What's it about?
Well, we're in the process, which is really dark, of making. Well, Shane already has his will. I'm trying to make my will.
I don't think it's dark. I think it's people often don't do these like housekeeping things and then they're dead. And there's no one left to do these housekeeping things. So I think it's important, no matter what age you are, just to get your fucking affairs in order.
I don't feel comfortable talking about it because we're flying soon, and like
You're so wild.
where this connects is like, I'm too superstitious for this.
Yeah, let's not manifest anything on this podcast, but we can definitely talk about how my fake net worth dropped.
What?
I used to have a fake net worth of $3 million.
Wow,
and
you're
now,
rich.
I know, and I was like, oh, I love this for me. Like, I hope my enemies like Google it and think like, oh, damn, they don't know the truth. And then this like came up when I was at my friend Kate's baby's birthday this weekend, and I was like, oh yeah, like my fake net worth is $3 million, and they like Googled it, and it's not anymore.
What is it now?
Like 800,000.
Oh my gosh. Do you think like being more visible on this podcast, they're like, there's no way?
Yeah, I do. So this is going to be my last time on the set.
They were like, when you were
Go ahead and bring Chris's ass up into this seat. And let's watch his fake net worth drop. I was such a weird slap in the face too, because none of it's true or real, and I would be so blessed to be worth 800 million or 800,000, and I'm upset about it.
I bet your Wiki Feet score dropped at the same time.
Oh, it's been down. Nobody gives a
Whatever.
fuck about my Wiki Feet anymore. Since we went to like a single frame. No one sees my feet on the internet.
Oh, it's hard for you.
Yeah. This whole podcast is really like ruining a lot of stuff for me, publicly speaking.
Okay, so you canceled your like weekend getaway in San Diego?
Well, Joe and I were going to go and stay at an Airbnb for the weekend to go to my friend Kate's baby's birthday.
Okay.
And then it was all rainy and shit. So I was like, well, let's not. Why would we spend the money if we can't do anything? Like, it was goofy.
This weather is nuts here.
Yeah. So I went by myself. I drove in for the day and drove out at the night.
You're doing a lot by yourself lately.
Ain't that the truth?
And you have so many friends. Crazy. Wait.
So many friends who just say, yeah.
Why were there 500 babies where you were?
Because it was a fucking baby's birthday party. All of those girls.
They know that many babies?
Yeah, all the women, all of my friends' friends have kids. And they're all little girls. So there was like 10 fucking little girls there from like oldest was 3 years old. And they're so fucking cute and really wild.
And so does it honestly make you more want to have kids or less want to have kids?
I think that's a really interesting question.
Honest answers only.
Keep asking questions, like keep being inquisitive. So I have been having a lot of anxiety about it where it's like I have some friends who have kids and they're like, oh, Liz, I got home and I thought, what the fuck have I done? And I'm like, oh shit. And then like, I just keep hearing that echoed by more and more people like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Like, I like love my baby, but like sometimes I don't like my baby. And I'm just like, oh fuck. And it's like, I've been around a lot of these babies and like, honestly, I love all of them. Like scream crying is awful. Scream crying is awful. Sleep training is awful. Feeding them is awful. Like breastfeeding is awful. You get physically emotional when your milk lets down, like in a psychotic way that you can't control because it's all hormonal from a time when women needed to be told by nature to feed their babies so that they wouldn't, like it's crazy. I'm definitely going to have postpartum rage and depression and anxiety and OCD. Like all of these things go with having a baby. And then after it's a baby, it's a fucking toddler. And that to me is a massive fucking nightmare.
See, that's
but I was also sitting in the midst of this. I don't think you've been around it.
No, I mean, yes.
When's the last time you spent an hour with a toddler? Tell me.
Not for a minute.
Right. So as I had 3 dangling from my neck this weekend, pulling my fucking hair and screaming in every corner of the house, I literally thought to myself like, wow, maybe I don't want this.
Well, yeah.
And then another mom was like, oh yeah, my life's over. My life's absolutely over. And then another mom has her daughter like yanking on her leg. She goes, anytime I try to have a conversation, it's like, she can be totally content. I've set her up with something. Like she has everything that she needs in the world and she just fucking needs me. She just fucking needs me the second I try to have a conversation about anything that's not her. And it's like, I'm seeing these people and like I get back to my friend's house after it was all said and done and I was like, bro, like should I not do this? I'm having a glass of fake red wine and her husband was like, no, you should absolutely do it. He's like, I love being a father so fucking much, and when people say your life is over, it's like if you really think about it, it was changing anyways.
Your life as you knew it was over.
Yeah, your life's not over. Your life evolves. He's like, and you can still, he's like, I was so fucking scared because everyone told me my life was over. I would get like, my mother-in-law was sending me articles about how like people who used to do the things that I'm passionate about gave up on those passions and like all these things. Like he's like, that scared the shit out of me. I don't want to give up what I'm passionate about.
I guess I'm delusional in thinking like my life's going to get better in all aspects from having children.
I think that is toxic positivity because you're putting a lot of pressure on a human to make you know what I mean?
No. It's not on them. I'm saying because of the demand of more responsibility for me, because I have less time to fixate on things that I don't need to be fixating on because I have to keep this thing alive. Mm-hmm. I feel like it would make me a better rounded person, not dependent on how they're interacting or being with me.
Interesting. Like you think your baby will run you down so you don't get crazy about certain
and also
instances.
Bring me fulfillment in taking care of, like in all aspects, I think.
Yeah. That's an interesting way to look at it.
And a fuller life. Like,
yeah. Well, that's what I think too. So, and that's what they were saying. They're like, do you really want to keep going on bar crawls every weekend? Do you really want to stay locked in this chapter of your life as opposed to like progressing and expanding and watching what the evolution of it all is? And I was like, oh no, you're right. Like I do want that. Like I have fantasies that I laugh at as if it's a picture I've already seen of Joe and our child being fucking stupid. Like, so I think the answer is yes, I still want it. And while I was sitting there, I was like, oh, this is so fun. And then the moms were like, I fucking hate it here. And I was like, what? And then it's also like, but I don't drink anyway. I won't miss the drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the answer is yeah, I still want a kid.
All right. I'm excited for us.
Yeah, me too. I also think you should spend some time with a toddler, just so your shit's not
going to change anything.
No, it won't, but it'll be like, this is what's coming.
Right.
It's like instead of going directly into like scuba diving, you practice in a pool first. You know what I mean? So when it comes, you're not just like,
well, maybe if some of my friends would start having kids.
Hello. You're going before me, though.
I know. Okay. Why do you care more about what?
Oh, I care more about Alex Earl's spring break in Nashville than I give a fuck about the Oscars.
Who's Alex Earl?
Oh my God, we're just going to move on.
You also wrote Alice Earl, so I don't even know if you know who you're talking about.
I do, but it's like I'm writing with it highlighted in black because I don't know how to change it. So to be fair, everything I wrote here I didn't see.
This document, like, God bless Lizzie. She does help prepare this document and she produces a lot of this show, but then I like go to open it to organize it because it's never organized. So I looked at it yesterday and it's like all black text with black highlighter. So it's like big black boxes.
And I don't know how I did it.
And it's like...
So I can't undo it.
There's hot topics and top of show. Everything else is like highlighted
It's like
yellow.
It looks like a redacted CIA document.
And it's like, I so appreciate like putting in the hard work, but then it takes me 30 minutes to like arrange it so that we can actually...
How do you think I feel writing a whole document I can't see? Stupid.
Open your fucking computer and look at it.
We're not going to open my computer while I do this in bed every morning.
Okay. I couldn't stop. For some reason I couldn't care about the Oscars this year.
No.
I just kept watching $1 Million Listing LA, which is something I just discovered 14 seasons later.
Yeah, I just like, honestly, was like...
And I went and I recorded it because I was like, oh, I'll scroll through it. And when I see like a face of somebody I like, I'll stop. Didn't even do that.
Right, because he hates Jamie Lee Curtis.
I don't hate Jamie Lee Curtis. I think...
Then let's have her on the pod.
Great. Go for it.
I'll go get her.
She won, right?
Yeah, she won for Best Supporting Actress in a major motion
I've still
picture.
never seen Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I took a big nap in the middle of it and came back at the end and found it riveting and was super moved and have never turned it back on to start it.
All I know is people say it's crazy how everything and nothing matters.
Some say it's crazy.
So is that the message of the movie? Am I good?
Yeah, you did it.
Okay.
Something about bagels and spaghetti and hot dog fingers.
I won an Oscar.
You won an Oscar.
I did it.
Play the thing.
I know it.
I want to thank Dawson from Dawson's Creek, who worked tirelessly in high school so that one day he could write Scream, only to have the credit revoked by Ryland Adams on the set.
All right, let's get to some hot topics. It's crazy that you manifested James Van Der Beek for me, because that's where we're going right now.
Why? What'd he do?
Well, let's get to this first story, and I'll circle back.
Well, then that's not where we're going right now.
It is where we're going right now. All roads lead to James.
Okay. Can call him by his name. It's Dawson.
Okay. All roads lead to Dawson.
Does Dawson have a first name? Or is his name Dawson? You know?
Shane would know.
Right.
He's Dawson Creek's biggest fan.
I know. Can you see, and I was texting with Shane about this, and I said that, and Shane didn't correct me.
He just didn't want to get into what I had to get into with you, which was like you being very
But I wouldn't
rude.
have questioned him the way I question you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because he has like
and that proves my point about when you were talking about the podcast hosts that don't know much. I was like,
us. Dawson Leary.
Yeah, I knew that. Now that I see it.
You did? Okay. So,
Okay.
Hugh, did you watch the Hugh Grant interview on the
I
red
went
carpet?
back and watched it after you told me about it.
The only thing I saw from, what is it? I was going to say the
Oscars.
Olympics. From the Oscars was Hugh Grant's on the red carpet getting interviewed by Ashley Graham. And he couldn't be less interested.
My heart was like literally breaking for her.
Oh, it was awful. It was like he was mad at her personally. She's like, who are you wearing? He's like, I don't know, bitch.
Well, so she started, and I get like her question was, "What are you most excited to see?" And it's like, dot. It's like, yes. So then she like realizes it wasn't a specific enough question, so she tries to recover, and she's like, I mean, you know, a lot of the people nominated. Is there anyone that you're rooting for? She really tried to specify.
He goes, no.
And then
then she goes, well, you know, you were in a big movie this year, Glass Onion. He's like, I was in it for 3 seconds.
And then she goes, well, what are you wearing? And he's like,
I don't know.
Just my suit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I understand. I think like had a comedian been in Ashley's role, the comedian could have been like, hey, like, would have handled it differently and they could have vibed back and forth. But it's not like this is a comedy red carpet. It's ABC before the Oscars. Yeah. The Oscars is a very formal event. You know you're walking the red carpet. And I know everyone has bad days. Like, celebrities are people and they have bad days. But it's like, if you're walking the Oscars red carpet and the host isn't giving you what you need, it's also a very hard job for that host to have, okay, there's a potential of 100 celebrities coming through. You need to prepare for all of them.
Well, they're also wearing an earpiece and there's a bunch of people in a van somewhere being like, ask him about his wiener.
But I just mean, like, give the woman a break. And it's like, he just kept shutting her down. So I my heart kept breaking because I've been in this position so many times.
Did you watch it at the end where he's handing the fucking microphone back?
No, so I saw like a splice.
At the end, she's like, all right, well, I guess that's it. He's like, like rolls his eyes and like does a whole little thing and then just sort of like slangs the fucking microphone back and he like walks away like, oh my God.
And I think there was a part of him that thought he was being funny in addition to kind of being like, it was
I think he's over it.
He was over it, but I think he just like, I don't know. It was just a bad scenario gone worse.
Yeah.
It was so cringy, so awful to watch, and it just reminded me. I did like a Toskers event. Like,
what is that?
It's like
Toskers. That sounds like sexy.
It's leading up to the Oscars about things that weren't nominated for Oscars, but it's like I don't know. It's like a joke award show thing.
Why does it make me feel like tossers?
Okay, but James Van Der Beek walked down this red carpet. I had never seen Dawson's Creek. There's 100 celebrities. And whoever stops, I'm not working for this fancy outlet that has like an earpiece to be like, this is what he's in, this is what he's done.
Oh, and you didn't know who he is.
And so I didn't know who he was. And so I just start asking generic questions, trying to find something to build off.
Right.
But he was doing the same thing Hugh Grant was doing, which was just like shutting down or giving one answer words. And then it's like, how can I create a conversation with you from one word when you clearly know I don't know, even though you're a huge deal? And I understand that's annoying for the celebrity. Like, it's frustrating.
Do you know what I would have said to him?
What?
What's it like being Dawson, who wanted to be a filmmaker, now in 2023 getting to write the Scream franchise films? Like, that's crazy, right?
And then he would have done the same thing he did to me.
And then he would have been like, I didn't write those. And I'm like, yes, you did.
And in my eyes, I was like, oh, he was so mean to me. But it's like, no, I was ill-informed and I wasn't prepared. I didn't know. He wasn't being mean. It was probably like a hit to him as well. But me, if I were a celebrity going on a red carpet, I would assume just that, like, as an entertainer, I'm going to entertain. If the host is doing a bad job, it's my job to like make us both look great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I know not everyone has the energy for that all the time.
What did you say to him? Do you remember what you said to him?
I tried watching it again with Shane like years later, but it was like cringe level 11 and I just had to like, I ran out. I can't go back to that.
I can't go back to that. Not without a popper. I can't go back to that. That's so funny. Wait, what is Dawson's real name? James Van Der Beek? Built?
Yeah, I think it's Beek.
Do we just kill the other one? Do we just have to get rid of the other one?
Okay, Courtney Cox said she didn't realize she looked a little off when she went overboard with facial fillers and admitted that she messed up a lot.
Crazy. I also was looking at her and Scream and thinking the facelift was a bit too far.
Well, she's dissolved the filler, and that's what she said. In 2017, after a lot of public scrutiny, she revealed that she had her fillers dissolved after realizing she didn't, quote, look right. And she was saying and talking about the evolution of this, just as like an actress in Hollywood, you like want to preserve how you're looking. And she said the next thing you know, you're layered and layered and layered, and you have no idea because it's a gradual thing until you go, oh shit, that doesn't look right. And in pictures, it's even worse than real life.
Yeah, and I've definitely noticed that. Like, I see a lot of people that are desperate to cling to a certain thing, and I think we need to like normalize aging. There was also an interesting like study of Kim Kardashian's doctored photos and the photos that fans take that aren't photoshopped. And if Kim hadn't been photoshopping the images on Instagram for so heavily for so long, we could watch her age in a graceful way. But now when we see an image that a fan posts and it looks nothing like the woman she projects herself to be, we're all like, oh my God. But it's like, if it were just a more natural, normal human thing, it would be beautiful.
Are we not seeing her age on the Kardashians? Like, how can she alter video?
Well, it's like, you know, heavy makeup, bright lights, like all of those help. You know, all those things help. And then it's also like a filter on a camera. There's a camera filter that you can put in front of a lens that's called like the fucking black magic or like Hollywood magic filter, and you can up the fucking ante on that shit, and it's like having
and then
a
in post
blur
you can
effect.
color correct, and you can do a lot of things. I understand how she got to where she got. Like every business person makes decisions based on their business. She's making decisions about her looks because her looks are her business. So from one degree, I like understand how she got there, but it does suck. And it
I just think there's so much more longevity to a natural face. Like, it's harder to book Courtney Cox for something because not every woman has that level of work done. So it's not a normal looking face. It's like Frances McDormand works all the time because she looks like a person.
And that's why, like, I have crow's feet and I don't love them.
It's
but
so
like,
you can win an Academy Award one day.
I'm not going to alter them. The same reason I'm not going to alter my teeth just because, like, somebody in Hollywood's like, well, you need your teeth fixed. Or the dentist is like, oh, you need your teeth fixed. I'm like, well, no, that's something that's a defining characteristic of me. And if you're an actor, like, you also want those nuanced things about your body that are real because you're portraying a character that you want people to relate to.
Yeah.
And nobody can relate to. I guess if you're a reality star, maybe it's different because you're selling yourself. But
I'm also a fan of baby Botox, but it's also like looks, right? So there's different beauty standards for everything that you do. There's like the influencer, the Instagram influencer who has the huge fucking fake lips, the crazy BBL, like the titties and everything. Like, that's one person's beauty standard, but there's like a beauty standard for like everyone, you know? James Vanderbeek versus James Vanderbilt. Right, but who is what I'm asking.
James Vanderbeek is Dawson.
Ah, got it. Okay. Vanderbeek?
Yes.
Okay.
Cara Delevingne.
Cara Delevingne checked into rehab amid an existential crisis. Turns out last year when they got all those pictures of her being erratic and weird with no shoes on after Burning Man, she really was struggling. Good for her. What I really appreciate about this article, did you read it?
I watched, I went straight to the video version.
Oh, what's the video version? Her actual interview?
Vogue did. I don't know if they included everything that's in the magazine, but it's like a 7-minute sit down that's really beautifully done with a Vogue editor and Cara being very honest and vulnerable.
I mean, that's something I like about Cara. She's a no-nonsense bitch, and she's like, I'm going to tell it how I tell it. And what I really liked about what I read, I don't know if it's from the Vogue thing, so if it's something you haven't heard yet, I'm sorry, but it's what I read were these snippets of her saying, like, when I was younger and I would go through these phases of emotional discomfort or binge using substances, I thought that there was an easy fix for it. I thought I could go away for a weekend and come back cured. I thought I could take a pill. I thought I could talk to a therapist one day and all of a sudden I wouldn't have this problem. And what I really appreciate about her emotional evolution is she's like, I realize now that there is no cure for what I have. It is a daily reprieve. I have to work on this for the rest of my life. And and that is the answer to it. And that's not a nightmare or a bummer. It's like a blessing to come to that realization.
These are some of the things that I pulled from the interview as well. She said, can't run from things in your life because they'll always catch up to you. And she said she does prefer the term healing over recovering because she said it does get better, but you don't really recover, you heal.
Yeah.
Another point I thought was interesting is she said something along the lines of like, they'll use her to be an advocate because she was very vocal about mental health in general. And she said, but then when the script flips and I was going through something, they say bye and they don't want to deal with it.
They so, like, being like brands and
people she's working with. Yeah. I'm assuming movies that she was slated to do. It's just interesting because she's like, when I'm talking about my mental health is like, go get yours checked. Everything's good. They want that from me. But then when I'm struggling, they want nothing to do with me. Yeah, they're
like, barrier in the backyard.
And she's like, that's just the business that we're in.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that she has seemingly found her footing. She looks wonderful. She showed up at the Oscar. I did see a picture from her at the Oscars last night, and I was like, oh my gosh, she looks incredible.
Yeah. What I've noticed is when a human being is out of sorts internally and emotionally, it's like their insides are just a bunch of molecules or whatever just moving a little bit too fast, and it's like it's an uncomfortable thing to be around. But when a person is settled into their spirit and like acting out of love and kindness in all aspects of their life, like there's like a calm that runs through their body and it's nice to be around them.
Yeah. And
I see that in her now. Like she's not doing the weird erratic, like I'm gonna throw your sleeves up Megan Thee Stallion.
And she said it took herself seeing her being erratic in those paparazzi photos and videos that was really a breaking point for her, because she said, I did have interventions of sorts and they didn't work or click for me. And she was like, I have this big, beautiful life, but that didn't match how I was feeling on the inside. She's like, I'm grateful for everything that I have, but it just didn't line up. Oh, is that your phone? Oh, no, it's okay. So good for her.
Yeah, I also think that it's really important to remember that addiction doesn't give a fuck who you are, doesn't give a fuck what your bank account looks like, where you came from, who your parents are, what your friends do, what you do. It will come and it will ravage you. And if you don't reckon with it, there are only a few possibilities for the trajectory of your life. And it's, death, institutionalization, or incarceration.
Right.
So deal with it.
Don't run from it, because it will always catch up to you. Thanks, Cara.
Thanks, Cara. Getting spiritually right is much better than going to jail or dying.
She did say she also had her first sober Christmas and New Year's, and it was the best she's ever had. I mean, in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think about it all the time, because I was a person who, when I lost alcohol, I fucking mourned it like a dead lover. I was like, this is all I have. You get to fucking have alcohol, and you don't even love it like I do, you fucking losers.
It's hard when it's something that's so social. And it's the only... I saw somebody... One of the
it's more
housewives,
than it's social. That was my lover.
But it is interesting, too, with alcohol. I think Kyle Richards from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, she's not drinking right now, and that's what the show is. They get drunk and get in fights. And she was like, it's interesting, she posted it a story being like, alcohol is the only drug that people question you for not using.
Yeah, it's wild.
Because it is something that you do when you gather, and even at Christmas or it's just, my heart goes out to even you who has to, I mean, you're farther along in your journey than maybe a lot of people struggling, but it has to be very hard. Yeah,
but the longer you stay, the easier it becomes to appreciate your sobriety more, because the love and stability I have in my heart and the answers that I have for my problems today are so much better. I used to feel like a warm hug from alcohol, and now when I think about it, I feel like it was my abuser. And what used to feel really crazy. Safe and comforting, that I literally I cried over the loss of alcohol like I was losing you or I was losing Joe.
But I think that highlights any toxic relationship, if you're in a toxic romantic relationship, you're in it thinking this is what's right. When things are right, this is the warm hug. And then from an Eagles perspective, it's no, that was awful and toxic.
An Eagles perspective. Wow, that's so poetic and patriotic. I love how you said that. But yeah, the point being is it's just like kids. One person's perspective is my life is over, and another person's perspective is my life's just begun. In lighter news, dude, Avril Lavigne fucking pulled the Uno reverse card on Modson and just was like, we're done, without really telling him.
I guess it seems that way. She hasn't made a statement.
Avril Lavigne and Modson had been dating for a year when he proposed to her in Paris last Valentine's Day.
I don't know the timeline, but
whatever. And they were engaged, and then at Fashion Week, she premiered her new boyfriend Tyga.
Well, I think they were also they were caught at Nobu kissing as well.
Right.
And then they
she soft launched with a hard peck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then now they've most recently been at Paris Fashion Week, and now I guess Modson's was saying oh, it hurts because that's the place I proposed.
Right.
And she, I guess, just decided it was a relationship that was no longer.
Yeah. Modson's representatives are no one told him. In Modson's mind, he was still engaged.
Are you sure?
Well, that's what Modson's team is saying.
You don't think
I think there's probably writing on the wall and it's not going well, but then they both go their separate ways. He's on tour. She's in Paris Fashion Week.
I know, but do you think she broke up with him, or do you think because one thing is I'm blindsided because I was broken up with out of nowhere. Right. Another thing is I open my phone and see that my fiance is kissing Tyga and I'm no longer in a relationship.
I mean,
then they're a little different.
They're both bizarre though. I was also looking at a timeline of Avril Lavigne's relationships, and she's been steady either engaged, married, or on the brink of a proposal since 2003.
Wow.
Maybe I'm exaggerating. It's not 2003.
Even all those times where people were questioning her whereabouts, somebody knew.
Yeah, she was like, because some magazine did like a breakdown of it. It's like she was with her guitarist. She was engaged to her guitarist. They broke up. 9 months later, she's engaged to this guy. She married this guy. They stay married. They get a divorce. She's then with this guy for a year. And then she's with this guy for a year. And then they're engaged. And then it's like,
well, I hope she's found the one.
I hope she's keeping all these rings. Like Drake out in these streets talking about, I got 48 engagement rings. And Avril's like, the fuck you do? She fucking kills me. I also saw someone do a breakdown of like it matters. That's the other thing that kills me so much.
I saw this too. The Kardashian
tree. And it's like, but what are you saying? Like, you're just sort of explaining these relationships.
Yeah, like what? I was looking
like, we
too,
know
but
that
I'm
fucking
like,
Black China has Tyga's baby. Like, we know that Travis is married to Courtney. Like, what are you saying?
Sorry, I like swallowed my own spit. Do you want to get to these or should we jump to advice?
Get into these?
Yeah, those are links you put. Some Batchelor thing and COVID.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay.
You couldn't read your own link? Sorry.
I actually like can't see.
Okay.
I don't know why you act surprised that I continue to not be able to see.
There's a thing called contacts.
I won't do it. They feel bad. Okay. So The Bachelor is crazy. No, it's not crazy. It's super normal this season. But The Bachelor got COVID for the first time a few weeks ago. And so they're doing like iPad chats with this motherfucker while he's in quarantine.
You're watching Batchelor a la 2020?
Yeah.
Like we're back to Skype?
Yeah, it was awful. And so all the women are like, oh no, like we're so sorry. Like we hope you get well. Like we really hope you get well. And then this girl Greer is trying to like identify with him and empathize with him so that he's like just to start a fucking conversation with an asshole on an iPad.
Right.
And she's like, you know, I'm a salesperson, like you're a salesperson. And I got COVID during this last half of the fourth quarter. And it was just like being pulled out of that was just like such a bummer. So like, I totally get what you're going through right now. And he goes, actually, dude, like I'm trying to find my wife. So this is a little bit different than sales. Like just instantly shits on her. And she's like, no, I know. Like, I'm not comparing, like, looking for a wife to a job. I'm just saying I understand.
And what the fuck do you think she's doing there?
Yeah.
Like, she's there for a different reason?
Yeah. And he's like, that's really, like, he's like, that's insensitive. And I don't like that you said that. And so I just really want to clear the record on this and say that, like, finding my wife is more important than the fourth quarter of sales.
I feel like he deserves no one.
No, he's such a piece of shit.
I think he deserves a therapist.
Wait for it. It's about to get worse. She gets COVID and she's out of the game for 2 weeks. And then when she gets out of quarantine and lockdown, she's like, I'm so happy to be back. I'm so happy to go back on this journey of like finding love with you. She sits down with me and goes, yeah, when you had COVID, I just stopped caring. So I'm going to send you home right now.
I think the girls should unite and walk.
No, they're all like, we love him. We fucking love him.
Is he great?
No, none of these people are
like,
great. If they were great, they wouldn't have to do The Bachelor to find fucking love.
Well, they're on The Bachelor to find fucking fame.
Yeah, they're all trying to get an Instagram following. And they're all acting like they're not. They're like, well, who's here for the right reasons? It's like the producers because it's their job.
And are they there for the right reasons? I mean, they're there to get paid, but they're there to...
No, it's dark. It's dark.
It's dark.
Yeah, but that killed me. So I had to tell you. Because I'm like, could you imagine? This guy's like, I have COVID and it's different. And she's like, I had COVID and it was worse. Like he was barely symptomatic. He's like, I'm just so tired. Like I'm tired. So they kept cutting to him in his hotel room, like reading the fucking menu. And he'd be like, God, I'm just so fatigued. And she's like, I was violently ill for 13 days. Like couldn't leave my room. Couldn't stand up. Like really sick in quarantine. Like sad and alone. No one came to see me. Zach didn't check in on me. And then he sent me home. Like, fuck him, man.
Okay, well, I'm about to pee my pants. But when we come back, advice though.
Wow.
Can we break down just for 2 seconds?
Yeah. Wait. Oh, you already hit unrecord?
No.
Do you and Chris want to talk about this story?
Oh, I wanted to talk. Yeah.
Okay. You guys have fun.
What?
So. No, it's fine. I wanted to tell you anyways because I feel like you'd care more.
Okay.
You know Pablo Escobar?
Yes.
Okay, so he had like 4 hippos in a moat around his house before he was like snatched.
Okay.
And after he was snatched, they became wild. And there's no like predators for them in that area. So the 4 hippos turned into like 175 hippos with no known predators. And it's now like an invasive ass species that they have to figure out how to get rid of. But they like weigh a ton each. And it's like really hard to move 175 fucking 1,000-pound hippos.
It's actually amazing.
It's not funny.
I didn't even know we had 4 hippos.
Dude, every time I hear more about like what Pablo Escobar had, I'm like, this guy was lit. You know who should have had a podcast?
Pablo Escobar.
Pablo Escobar. Oh man.
We all would have listened.
Now I gotta pee.
Should we break down?
Let's break down.
Cutting.
Okay, let's get into some
Advice though.
Okay, so this one is a written submission.
Give it to the blind girl. Okay. Hi, Lizzie and Ryland. To the point, my girlfriend has gained some weight, and honestly, for me, it's not that big of a deal. I still find her sexy, beautiful, and just perfect, but I do notice the weight gain has affected her emotionally and with her self-confidence. She doesn't eat the best, and she tries working out but really hates it. How do I encourage her to make healthier choices without hurting her feelings or making her feel like the weight gain is a problem for me? I just want her to feel good about herself again.
I mean, again, I feel like honesty is the best policy. I think you can show her through your actions and your words that you think she's beautiful no matter what. And I think that can come from just complimenting her whenever you find necessary. Like when you walk into the kitchen and you're like, oh my God, that's is it wife or girlfriend? My girlfriend. Oh my gosh, my girlfriend. You're like so hot,
You're so
hugging
hot.
her, giving her affection and being like, hey, like your weight has nothing to do with how I view you or like doesn't take away from your hotness in my mind, but I've noticed like you're in your head about it, you're spiraling about it, and it's making you less present in our relationship, which is bumming me out.
I wouldn't say that last part. I would agree with everything that you said beforehand, and don't bring up her weight gain as a thing that's bothering you because of her emotional spiral about it. Because that, like, I mean, so I gained a bunch of weight and I feel weirdly about it because society makes me feel weird about it.
Right.
But there's nothing weird about it. Like, I look great. My butt is beautiful. My arms are strong. Like all these things.
I mean, I wouldn't say that to a friend. Like if I wouldn't say that to you. If I was in a relationship with somebody and we're going on months of her not being able to function properly or not be present because she's in her head about gaining weight, I would say something about that. And that's me, but I would. I just wonder, because it's still not about how, like, it's not about.
I wonder if there's a way to do it without making it about the weight. Hey man, I noticed that you're feeling a little bit down and I love you so much. And I hope that you can find peace and serenity in your mind because you're beautiful and wonderful and funny and I love you. You know, like a way to make it so that it's not like the conversation's not like, oh, you gained weight and now you suck.
I don't
like emotionally
think that's what I was saying when I was saying
no,
it.
but like it's hard not to put that into a person's mind who's already spiraling. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, okay, take weight out of it. Say like
that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying like, let's say this was another scenario. Like you were in your head about something else that was like you were constantly there instead of here. And it's like that's affecting our relationship and I want you to be more present with me. That's why I think it's necessary. I don't think you need to like jump the gun to get there, but if like you start having a conversation and that door opens up and your girlfriend is like, well, yeah, I do feel like because I've gained a few pounds, I'm less confident and that makes me be more in my head. And that, like, if you get to a point that's that, then you're like, well, I think you're beautiful at every size and however you are, and it doesn't affect how I view you, but it is a bummer that like, because to me it's like if our bodies function, like even with having thrown my back out, it's like I take so for granted on the day-to-day the functionality of my body, and I haven't been able to work out for 3 weeks like I prefer to work out. And so I've reframed it in my head as like, oh, it's my body's so incredible. The functionality of my body is so incredible. Our bodies are made not to like look any specific way. So it is like for me getting out of my head about how a body should look and its actual function.
Yes.
And if I'm ruining my own life or day because of how I look, I need to get out of my head and be present with everything that is so full in my life.
Exactly.
So that's what I mean when I say...
That's beautifully stated.
So, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't mean for it to come across as like, you got to get out of your head so you can be more present with me.
Yeah.
And if you're not getting there with your partner, I think the safe bet is to suggest a therapist.
Yeah, always a safe bet to suggest a therapist. Sorry, I'm crashing. But I also think that, you know, without saying much, you can create a healthier environment. Because, like, for me, if I'm overthinking about like, oh, the calories I've consumed are bad. I have had carbs. I have had sugar. I have had this. I have had that. I haven't worked out this many times. I haven't burned this many calories. Like if I'm having those kinds of thoughts, like I'm not a functioning person in society. I'm not being of service to anybody. I'm just killing myself. And I'm living a really fucking horrible existence while I die.
Right.
And I think that if you want to take some of that burden off the table, make her dinner. That'll make her feel well. You know, I love queso. Queso makes me sick as a fucking dog. So it's not that I'm not eating queso because I don't want to be fat. I'm not eating queso because it makes my body die. It's poison. Mm-hmm. It's outlawed in some countries. Like that's what, like, you know, find a way to make positive food and flavor and joy that's not based around diet and physical appearance as a result.
Yeah.
It's like, I would prefer to have a salad because I don't feel like shit after I eat it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want McDonald's. So instead of going and get a hyper processed burger, I'm going to make myself a quarter pounder at home. Mm-hmm. Like, there are ways to satisfy yourself emotionally and physically with food in a non-toxic way. And I mean toxic mentally and physically.
I think too, before you have a conversation, you could try a thing where you just make her feel confident by feeling loved.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And see how far that can take you. Not in like an over, like a performative type of way, but like whenever it is necessary, I think you could just really make her feel as though you appreciate her, you love her, you want to have sex with her, you like all of these things, despite however she's feeling in her head. Because I mean, maybe that's your first step before you go into a conversation that I talked about. Or
I think that the second half of everything you said is great. And I also think, like, take weight out of it. Tell her, I've noticed you're feeling down in the dumps. And that bums me out, man, because you're fucking great.
And I do think, like you're saying, also food does like chemically mess with my head. Like if I'm eating really unhealthy, it also fucks me up mentally.
It's a fucking downer. It hurts. It actually, like, it hurts. Mm-hmm. And you see me after I eat healthy food sometimes. It fucking hurts. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's all about ensuring that what you're doing in everything is about love and kindness. Am I treating my body with love and kindness? Am I treating my mind with love and kindness? Am I using food as a punishment or a reward? Am I using the gym as a punishment or a reward? Finding an exercise that makes you feel good. If you like going to yoga because at the end there's a emotional conversation that takes place and sets you right on your path for the day, or and you feel aligned and spiritually and physically, or if you like going to Orange Theory because getting the euphoria of a sweat, like whatever, find the thing that brings you joy when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Also, being outside more helps. I find that when I'm hiking and in the sun more, like I feel better. My depression lifts more. I'm also in like the midst of like PMSing like a motherfucker right now, but it's, you know, I can manage it to some degree while still being a heinous bitch to you and feeling bad about it now in retrospect. I'm sorry I snapped you about James Vanderbeek.
I'll never know what it's like to be a woman, so you're forgiven.
Thank you for understanding the fucking complication of my gender disposition.
All right, you guys. Well, with that, I hope you all have a fantastic week, and thank you so much for watching and supporting our show. Follow us all on social media, and we'll see you maybe next week.
Maybe. If not, next week I am actually doing a what I eat in a day as a person who loves herself.
Oh, that's great. So on Lizzie, your channel's Lizzie Gordon. I was going to say Lizzie Vlogs.
I honestly don't know what my channel is called. It might be Elizabeth Gordon. Okay.
But we'll keep you posted on social media. If we're not here, we love you so much, and we'll be back the following week. We'll see you maybe next week. We love you very much. Goodbye. And that's the sip.